You came back for the last page of the old story. But look, it is not really an ending. There is no substitute for getting into the Word of God on your own. I am a line on a screen. The book is alive. Read it. Malachi is the final book of the Old Testament. After it, there are 400 years of silence. No prophet, no new word from God. The scroll runs out. But here is the beautiful thing. Malachi does not end like a wall slamming shut. It ends like a door left open a crack, with light spilling through. It ends with a promise. A messenger is coming to prepare the way, and a son of righteousness is about to rise with healing in its wings. The last page of the old story is really the doorway into the new one. This is Malachi, the last word before the king arrives. Here is the question Malachi answers, and it is the question of every dry, disappointed season of faith. Does God still love us when he seems silent and far away? Because that is exactly where these people were. They had come home from exile expecting glory and got a long, hard, ordinary grind instead. God had gone quiet, and over time their hearts went cold and cynical. Their worship became going through the motions, bringing God their leftovers, their blemished second-rate offerings, the bare minimum, while secretly doubting he even cared. And they got bold enough to say it to his face. When God says, "I have loved you," they actually answer back, "Oh yeah? How have you loved us? Prove it." It is the cynicism that creeps in when God feels distant and life feels flat. And Malachi is God's tender, firm answer to a people who have stopped believing he loves them. God answers their cynicism first, and notice he does not start with a rebuke. He starts with a declaration. "I have loved you," he says, and he points back over their whole history, the way he chose them, carried them, kept coming back to them. His love was never the thing that wavered. Theirs was. Then he addresses their half-hearted worship. They were bringing him their leftovers, blind, lame, diseased animals. They would be embarrassed to give a human official, let alone God. And he says, "Give me your best, not your scraps, not your leftovers, not the bare minimum, your first and your finest. Because what you give reveals what you truly think he is worth." And he promises a coming messenger who will purify his people. He will be like a refiner's fire, God says. Now, a refiner heats silver to burn out the impurities, and he watches the fire closely until the surface is so pure he can see his own reflection in it. That is what God's purifying is. Not destruction, refinement. He turns up the heat because he wants you pure, not gone. And for those who still feared God in that cold season, God says a scroll of remembrance is written in his presence. He does not forget the faithful. They will be my treasured possession, he says. And then, the very last words of the Old Testament, a promise of dawn. For you who honor my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise, with healing in its wings. And before that great day, I will send my messenger to prepare the way. The old story ends with a sunrise about to break, and a messenger on his way. The door is open. Here is the turn, and it is the right note to end the entire Old Testament on. God's love is not the thing that wavers. In every dry, silent, disappointing season, the temptation's always the same, to conclude that God's love has cooled, that he has stopped caring, that the distance you feel is his doing, that he drifted away from you. And Malachi gently turns it around. Look again, he says. Your feelings wavered. Your worship cooled into going through the motions. Your faith curdled into cynicism. All of that wavered. But his love
I have loved you, held perfectly steady the entire time, even through the 400 years of silence that were about to begin. Even then, the sunrise was already on its way. When God seems most silent, his love is not absent. Sometimes it is refining you in the fire, and it is always, always about to rise, like a sun with healing in its wings. The dawn was coming the whole time. It still is. There is a thread, and here, at the end of the Old Testament, it reaches the doorway. Every single promise Malachi ends on reaches across the 400 years of silence and lands on Jesus. The messenger who would prepare the way, that is John the Baptist, who came in the spirit of Elijah, exactly as Malachi said, to get the people ready for the Lord. The Lord who would suddenly come to his temple, Jesus walked right into it. The refiner's fire who purifies his people, that is Christ. And the Son of Righteousness rising with healing in its wings, that is Jesus. The dawn breaking over a world in the dark, bringing healing wherever his light falls. The very last word of the Old Testament is a door held open, with a sunrise about to break and a messenger on the way. And the scarlet thread that has run red through all 39 of these books, the lamb, the cord, the serpent, the servant, the pierced king, steps right through that doorway and becomes the cross at the heart of the new. The whole first half of the story was always reaching for him, and on the other side of Malachi's open door, he finally arrives. That is the thread. It was always Jesus. Wherever you are in a dry or silent season, his love is not the thing that wavered. The dawn is coming. The messenger is on the way. And just past this open door, the Son of Righteousness himself walks onto the page. You have come all this way through the story. Now step through the door and go meet the King. The book is alive. Read it and keep reading. I will see you in the world.